What's up, guys, and welcome back to my reading journey. I'm reading the Roads of Destiny, so we're gonna continue with the second part of this fine story, right? Alright, let's move on. Oh, yeah, that disturb honest folk at this time of night. My house is closed. This too late for profitable travelers to be around. Cease knocking at my door and be off. Open, spluttered the postilion. Spluttered the postilion loudly. Open for Monsignor, the Marquis de Beaupertas. Ah, cried the voice above. 10,000 pardons, my lord. I didn't know. The hour is too late. At once shall the door be opened and the house placed at my lord's disposal. Inside was heard the clink of chain and bar, and the door was flung open. Shivering with chill and appre- apprehension, that's a good word, I don't know the meaning. The landlord of the Silver Flagon stood half clad, candle in hand, upon the threshold. David followed the Marquis out of the carriage. As seized the lady, he was ordered. The, the poet obeyed. He felt her small hand tremble as he guided her descent. Into the house was the next command. The room was the long dining hall of the tavern. A great oak table ran down its length. The huge gentleman seated himself in the chair at the nearer end. The lady sunk into another against the wall with an air of great weariness. David stood, considering how best he might now take his leave and continue upon his way. My lord, said the landlord, bowing to the floor, had I expected this honor, entertainment would have been ready. There is wine and cold fowl, and maybe candles, said the Marquis, spreading the fingers of one plump white hand in a gesture he had. Yes, my lord. He fetched half a dozen candles, lighted them, and then set upon the table. If Monsieur Monsieur would perhaps deign to taste a certain Burgundy. There's a cask. Candles, said Monsieur, spreading his fingers. Assuredly, quickly, I fly, my lord. A dozen more lighted candles shone in the hall. The great bulk of the Marquis overflowed his chair. He was dressed in a fine black from head to foot, save for the snowy ruffles and his wrists and throat. Even the hilt and scabbard of his sword were black. His expression was one of the sneering pride. The ends of an upturned mustache reached nearly to his mocking eyes. The lady sat motionless, and now David perceived that she was young and possessed of pathetic and appealing beauty. He was studied from the contemplation of her forlorn loveliness by the booming voice of the Marquess. "What's your name?" and pursued. "David Mignot. I'm a poet." The mustache of the Marquis curled nearer to his eyes. "How do you live?" "I'm also a shepherd. I guarded my father's flock." David answered with his head high, but a flush upon his cheek. "Then listen, master shepherd and poet, to the four. Then listen, master shepherd and poet, to the fortune you have blundered upon tonight. This lady is my niece, Mademoiselle Lucie de Varennes, de Varennes, Lucy de Varennes. She is of noble descent and is possessed of 10,000 francs a year in her own right. As to her charms, you have but to observe for yourself. As to her charms, you have but to observe for yourself. If the inventory pleases your shepherd's heart, she becomes your wife at the word. Do not interrupt me. Tonight I conveyed her to the chateau of the Comte de Wilmer, to whom her hand had been promised. Guests were present. The priest was waiting. Her marriage to one alliable in rank and fortune was ready to be accomplished. At the altar, this damoiselle, so meek and dutiful, turned up at me like a leopardess, leopardess, like a leopard, but leopardess, charged me with cruelty and crimes, and broke before the gaping priest I thought I had plighted for her. I swore there and then by 10,000 devils that she should marry the first man we met after leaving the chateau, be he prince, charcoal burner, or thief. You, shepherd, are the first. Mademoiselle must be wed this night. If not you, then another. You have 10 minutes in which to make your decision. Do not wax me with words or questions. 10 minutes, shepherd, and they are speeding. The Marquis drummed loudly with his white fingers upon the table. He sunk into a wailed, wailed attitude of waiting. It was as if some great house had shut its doors and windows against approach. David would have spoken, but the huge man's breathing stopped his tongue. Instead, he stood by the lady's chair and bowed. Mademoiselle, he said, and he marveled to find his words flowing easily before so much elegance and beauty. You have heard me say I was a shepherd. I have also had the fancy at times that I'm a poet. If it be the test of a poet to adore and cherish the beautiful, that fancy is now strengthened, strengthened, strengthened. Can I serve you in any way, mademoiselle? The young woman looked. The young woman looked up at him with eyes dry and more mournful. His frank, glowing face, made serious by the gravity of the adventure, his strong, straight figure, and the liquid sympathy in his blue eyes, perhaps also her imminent need of long denied help and kindness thrust her to sudden tears. Alright, guys. I want to read one more sentence, maybe more. Monsieur, she said in low tones, you look to be true and kind. He is my uncle, the brother of my father, and my only relative. He loved my mother, and he hates me because I'm like her. He has made my life one lone terror. I'm afraid of his very looks, and never before dared to disobey him. But tonight he would have married me to a man 3 times my age. That's a common thing, I think. But tonight he would have married me to a man 3 times my age. You will forgive me for bringing this vexation upon you, monsieur. You will, of course, decline this mad act he tries to force upon you. But let me thank you for your generous words, at least. I have had no spoken to me in so long. There was now something more than generosity in the poet's eye. Poet, he must have been, for Ione. Ione was forgotten. His fine new loveliness held him with its freshness and grace. The subtle perfume from her filled him with strange emotions. His tender look fell warmly upon her. She leaned to it fristily. Alright, guys, We're gonna continue tomorrow with the third part. So that's a long story, guys. Probably 5 more parts. So, yeah, that's a long story. See you tomorrow on the next part. Thank you for joining me today. Bye.